Hello and welcome to My Tummy Hurts. I am your host, Shannon Chan Kent, and thank you everyone for being here. All right, let's try this again. I recorded about 40 minutes of this podcast earlier, well, a couple minutes ago, and I needed to stop because I thought I was going to throw up, and I didn't want to be eating and drinking and throwing up on air. So I thought I would spare you. So let's try this again. I am on a round of antibiotics. I will get into it, but I thought I had eaten enough. Um, I know it says to take them with a meal, and I had like a protein shake matcha this morning and an apple and some berries, and I was feeling quite full, and I was like, I'll just take the antibiotic now. Well, newsflash, not enough food before you feel like you are going to, excuse me, just burped. you know, it is all about your tummy hurting, isn't it? How on brand for me. Yeah. So we're going to try this again. How is everyone doing? It has been a while since I have recorded. My last episode was with the amazing Amanda Dijak, my colon hydrotherapist, whom I am just obsessed with. And I hope you guys got a lot. I'm just going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. How do I even do this anymore? There we go. Um, yeah, so I hope you guys got a lot out of that episode. I would love to have her back on because I feel like I could just talk to her for hours and I feel like she has so much knowledge to share. So, since then, it has been a bit of a whirlwind. I have been in Vancouver, I've been to Pasadena, Texas, Los Angeles, and Wisconsin, right? I've been dabbling in a little bit of work. I'm on a show called Death Note, I did this show called Death Note, this big anime that, years ago. I think I was like 19, 20 when I first started the show. And now I travel to these Comic Cons when my body allows it, and I meet all the Death Note fans, and we sign autographs and do panels. I'm feeling really grateful to have gotten my body to a place where I can say yes to some of these things. And it's so interesting. It's so interesting. I was reflecting this week on how far I've come in the last few years till now. And it's really hard. The day to day makes me feel like I haven't moved at all, moved the needle at all. But when I zoom out, I go, okay, well, you're not spending 4 weeks in bed after you do something anymore. You're spending a couple days in bed, or you know, you're like my recovery is getting quicker. um, I still haven't driven in over a year, which is killing my soul a bit because I just feel way more independent and like I have my autonomy, when I can just hop in a car and do my things and not have to ask for help. But I've been trying to quiet that voice of shame and guilt, asking for help because, you know, what is this life without community and friends and people you can rely on, and also vice versa, they can rely on you in other forms, even though I can't drive them around. But anyways, so yeah, I've just been traveling to these places back east in the Midwest, doing these Comic Cons, and it's kind of brought some things to the surface for me in terms of this weird place where I feel like my soul wants more right now, and like I feel like my mind and like my energy feels ready to call in more things, but my body is still feeling like it's really in this transformative healing phase. And the first couple of years I was sick, I didn't work. I did a couple voiceovers from my bed, which I was very fortunate enough to do. But other than that, no film and TV, like no, nothing, not working at all. And now that I'm in this place where I can kind of push myself a little bit because my threshold has gotten a bit bigger. I'm like finding myself being like, is this healthy? I'm always asking myself, is this healthy for me? And on one end, I just feel so split down the middle. Sometimes I really do feel like a Libra. I don't know. I don't think we talked about this before. I had my chart read like years ago, and I am born on September 23rd, and that is like on the cusp. You're either a Virgo or a Libra. Most charts I feel like say Libra. So my entire life I've been a Libra. And then I got my Joydish chart read by this phenomenal guy and in LA. And he was like, "You're a double Virgo, and like Virgo sun, Virgo rising or something, and then like Libra moon." I still have a lot of Libra in my chart, but um, yeah, so, anyways, that Libra part of me who's always searching for balance, I feel like is very, very prevalent. And and what has been coming up for me a lot these days is this idea of like how much do I want to push myself? Like what actually feels like beneficial for me and like what is not. And I guess I can explain this a little bit more. It's like when I'm working, I feel alive. When I'm with my friends, when I'm being creative, I feel unstoppable. That being said, what I have to do right now in order to work, because I don't feel quite ready to get back into film and TV and work those hours, even though these Comic Cons, they're short bursts, like a weekend, they take a lot out of me. They're far. They're never one flight. They're usually two flights. So it's an entire day of travel. And then it's usually for about 48 hours. So my last convention, I flew to Wisconsin. On Friday, I worked all day Saturday, half of Sunday, and then took two flights home Sunday night. So I took four flights between Friday and Sunday. And I feel like for any healthy person, that's a lot. And then for what I'm dealing with, it's just a lot more. Um, but I'm in this weird phase where I feel like dabbling my foot in something that lights me up, like also helps that healthy energy. And like reminds me that I can do things, which then perpetuates, I feel like, my body to be like, all right, get a little bit more confident in the healing in this like that it's like, okay, I'm ready to heal. I'm ready to heal. And at the same time, you know, that how physical traveling can be and being with a bunch of people and meeting new like hundreds of people in a weekend feels also very draining for me. Um So yeah, I'm in this really weird phase right now and the last few times that I've traveled to these conventions have not gone that smoothly. I went to Pasadena, Texas, and I'm doing like I know like the nervous system is like a lot of buzzwords around it right now, but dealing with long COVID and Lyme, more on the Lyme story later on, but dealing with long COVID and Lyme has really hit my brain badly. You know, like not only do I have brain fog, but I'm still not driving. I haven't driven in over a year, so having major vestibular issues, major vision issues, and I feel like when you don't feel balanced in your body and walking down the street, like there is no way you are not in fight or flight because you just cannot think straight or um yeah, just all of the things. So anyways, um I was in Pasadena, Texas and was part of an active shooting there, which was terrifying. It was absolutely terrifying. My partner and I had flown in to Pasadena. He had come with me because we were heading to London in a few days to go to a wedding, which I had been gearing up for like over a year to try. It was really important for me to go. Um, Not just for my relationship or my friends, but myself. It was important for me to go for me. And of course, I always give myself that out. Like, truly, if I'm not feeling well, it's okay. Give myself that grace. But I was gearing up to go. So we flew into Houston. We were out for dinner in Pasadena, and we had ordered some drinks. I had gone to the restroom, and I was washing my hands when a bunch of people started piling in to the bathroom, saying, "Don't go outside. There's an active shooter out there." I was, of course, frazzled, went into a stall with this young mom. She must have been no older than like 22 or 23. She had had her baby on her lap. She was calling her husband, praying with him, shaking, crying. I was trying to calm her down while simultaneously just trying to calm myself down because I was like very heightened, obviously. I had called my cast. They were on their way to the restaurant, and I said, "Please don't come. There is an active shooter outside." They thought I was joking, but then shortly after realized I wasn't. And then I had called my boyfriend who was in the front of the restaurant, and he just said, "Stay calm, stay in there, stay safe." And then we hung up, and I realized when someone said, "Oh, there's an active shooter outside," immediately you think this isn't targeted. You think that it's some person on this, you know, killing rampage or something. And then I realized I am in a bathroom stall, no exit, nowhere to go. So if this person's idea of I just didn't know, and I thought, well, if this person is on a killing spree today, I'm trapped in here and there's nowhere to go. And then I started hyperventilating and also trying to stay calm. Like, it was just, if I'm working on my nervous system, this was not the ideal scenario to be in. A couple minutes later, my boyfriend came to the bathroom, grabbed me. We stood by the kitchen, and he said there's an exit in the kitchen. So if the shooter comes through the front door, we run out the kitchen. If he comes in the back door, we'll just run. And yeah, it there was a waitress that was working there, and she goes, "Are you guys okay?" And I said, "No, obviously not." I said, but my purse is at the front of the restaurant, and it has all my medication in it and my passport." And she was like, "Oh, well, I'll go get it for you." I was like, "Aren't you scared?" I was like, "No, no, no, don't do that." I was like, "Aren't you scared?" And then she was like, "Not the first time this has happened." And just like sauntered up to my table and grabbed my bag for me. So, yeah, that's how my Houston trip started. And then the rest of the weekend was pretty taxing. I had was possibly going to be offered this role in a movie that I really wanted to do, and it felt like very aligned with where I am in my life right now. But I got the phone call that same night that the shooting happened, and I had to make a very quick decision whether or not I was going to do the shoot or, yeah, whether I was going to do the shoot or not. And the shoot was pretty taxing. It's a passion project with an amazing director, an amazing cast, and I would have been so lucky to have been a part of it. But there was going to be a lot of dancing in the dark and self-driving to somewhere on the island in BC. And right now, I haven't driven. Like I said, I haven't driven in a year, and I have a really hard time seeing in the dark. And night shoots would have been very difficult. So I had to make the difficult decision to say no to that. And but that also freed me up to go to London. So we ended up missing our flight due to weather. So we stayed one more night in Houston, and then we got on a flight to London. And the first hour we were there, I went to go get a celery juice. And the celery juice tasted a little off, but I was like, That's fine. Celery can sometimes be bitter. This place that I went to, I know doesn't use organic or anything. So I was like, maybe it's just the chemicals or like whatever. But like, you know, at least I'm getting my greens and I hadn't gotten my greens for a few days. And yeah, within a half hour, I was violently ill and throwing up the rest of the afternoon. So nervous system, body, you know, uh, I just was like, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And every time something like this happens, I go, what is this trying to teach me? What is this trying to show me? And that is like the hardest thing because sometimes you just want to be in victim mode. Sometimes you just want to be like, why is this happening to me? Why, God? Why? Why, universe? Why? But, you know, I always try to flip it. At least I'm trying really hard to flip it, which brings me to what has recently happened. So, we got back from England. I'm really happy that I went. I had such an amazing time at our friend's wedding. And yeah, of course, there were hard moments physically, you know, the travel and everything else. I've still got dysautonomia. So, when things don't really line up correctly for me, or when they feel like they do line up correctly for me, and I eat all the right things and I do all the right things and I'm getting enough sleep, sometimes it just happens. The dizziness happens, the heart rate, the climbing heart rate, the weakness in the limbs, and I just need to lie down. So, so I get back from London. We're in LA for like 10 days to 2 weeks, and I fly to Wisconsin for another Comic Con. And that goes well. Of course, that travel is also tricky, but I flew back to Vancouver. My little sister is getting married, so her bridal shower is this week. And I'm really excited to be back in Van. I haven't been in over a month, and it just always feels good to be home and to see my parents and my family and my friends that ground me. Um, I flew back Sunday night. Monday was a little, you know, recovery. And then Tuesday, I noticed this bump on my derriere. And, you know, sometimes I get pimples there or cysts from like getting hot or sweaty or working out and whatever. So I wasn't that worried, but I was having a really hard time sitting. And I was like, why does this freaking pimple hurt so much? Like it kills right now. And that afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, I was with my best friend and we were out for dinner and I was like, Mar, I gotta go up to my apartment. Thank God we were in a restaurant and like in the same building as where I live. And I said, I gotta go upstairs. Like, I'm really not feeling well. My whole body was aching. And it was like when I get these body aches, they're very, very familiar. They're the same kind of aches I felt when I first got sick and I got really lethargic. And I was like, and you know, I have this like weird relationship with Lyme where I just, for so long, I thought it was just like an obscure thing and that like only like people like once in a blue moon got it. And I didn't really have it and the Lyme test was wrong. I just like felt like very in denial of it. But every time I get these body aches, I think, all right, it's the Lyme flaring up for some reason. So I thought either I'm getting sick from all the travel and I'm just burnt out, or I'm just having a Lyme flare up and I don't know why. Maybe I don't know why. So that Tuesday night, I'm kind of tossing and turning in bed. My butt hurts. And I have these two mirrors by my bed. And the next morning, I'm like, I'll just use my red light on it. It'll bring down the inflammation. Usually, that red light is just like such a game changer. It has been a game changer for me and pain and inflammation. And I get up and I look in the mirror, and the little pimple has is the size of like a grapefruit on my butt. And not only is it the size of a grapefruit, but it has a distinct white ring around it. So it looks like a bullseye rash, which, if you don't know, is like the quintessential tick bite rash. So I gather my things. This is 7 a.m., like 6:45. I take myself to urgent care and um, I'm triaged and I see a nurse practitioner and she's like, this is a tick bite. And usually, if you see a tick on you, you remove the tick and you put it in a little plastic bag and then you mail it off to see if that tick has Lyme, because not all ticks carry Lyme. Um, but I never saw a tick. I don't hike anymore. I don't have the stamina to do it anymore, and I live by the beach now, and I don't live near any trees. I think I've sat in the grass maybe once or twice this entire summer, so I have no idea how I could have gotten a tick bite. So I'm just like, the doctor's talking to me. I completely space out because I'm just having so much PTSD of the last 3 years. And yeah, so she wants to put me on a round of doxycycline, which brings me back to why I had to start this podcast all over again, because I thought I was going to throw up. Um, but she puts me on around 10 days of doxycycline, and I'm having this really visceral reaction to being on antibiotics. I'm having PTSD of the last 3 years, and right before I got sick in December of 2022, I went on a round of antibiotics. Now, it's going to sound like I take antibiotics all the time. I don't. But I had an infected cyst at the time, and I was shooting a movie, and I was shooting long hours, and my body was aching, and I felt like it was getting a bit infected. And I thought, you know what? Sometimes you just got to fight fire with fire. Antibiotics are a great thing when they are needed. Um, and I thought, so I was having a bit of PT. And then right after I took that round of antibiotics, this all started. I got sick. So I feel like with leaky gut and everything, I think it was a perfect storm, but I don't think those antibiotics really helped me. Um, so when this nurse practitioner at urgent care yesterday gave me this doxycycline, I was just I just was staring. I was like, I couldn't even really process what was happening. Um and I think I spent the rest of the day pretty inconsolable. I was crying, and like I said, wanting to go into like this victim mode of like, why me? Why is this happening? Why, what's going on? And I don't want to take these, and it's going to make me worse. And with Lyme, I don't know too much about it. I try to not like fully deep dive into the world of Lyme, because I can get I can freak myself out about a lot of things. But I feel like the antibiotic route is pretty controversial in the Lyme community. Although I do know that there is a short window when you get a tick bite. I think maybe, I don't know, I'm probably making this up, 2 to 3 weeks, but I think that might be accurate. Um, when you can treat the Lyme with antibiotics, and it could be very beneficial. Um, so I kind of squared it with myself that that is what I was going to do. I couldn't guarantee that this was a tick bite. Also, you can get this kind of rash from something called like a recluse spider or a brown spider or something, which might be more probable than a tick. But I did ask the universe to show me a sign if this wasn't Lyme yesterday. Still haven't gotten that sign. And last time I asked the universe to show me something, I had like defrosted this chicken, and the chicken smelled kind of funny, and I was like, okay. And I was so hungry, and I cooked it. And I was like, there's no way that this chicken isn't good. I was like, it's fine. It's just been defrosted. Sometimes chicken can smell a little bit funky, and I had cooked it at home, and it tasted fine, and I had eaten it. And then I was like, and of course I'm like still like has like emetophobia, and like, so scared of stomach stuff, obviously. And I was like, okay, universe, show me show me a wiener dog, show me a dachshund. And like, I ask the universe these things sometimes. Like, I ask the universe to show me something that like I don't see every day. I don't see wiener dogs every day, and they're not really on my like Instagram feed either. Like, they're always like toy poodles or like some Shih Tzu or Brussels Griffin or something on my Instagram feed. So I was like, I'm not going to see a wiener dog. Like, they're just not never on my feed. And then I went to a birthday party that night and I was feeling fine and like totally forgot about it. But then I got home that night and I was flipping through Instagram and I was like, "Oh, these puppies are so cute." And um they were all the same breed of puppy, and then one little puppy in that litter was a dachshund. And I was like, "Ah!" And I was like, "Oh my god, this works. Asking the universe for a sign." And so yesterday I was like, show me whatever I said. I'm not going to say the sign because I'm still holding on. If this is not Lyme, still haven't seen it. Still have not seen it. So, yeah. Um, I am on this 10-day cycle of doxycycline, and then I like messaged my functional doctor, Dr. Ashley Beckman, who is, I'm hoping is going to come on to my podcast very soon, and we're going to go back on a Lyme protocol. Um, but I feel like the biggest takeaway, I guess, for me is not going back into victim mode and like asking myself like what is the universe trying to teach me? Why is this coming up right now? And when I got bit, I realized how much fear there was. Like how much how fearful I was of being brought back to being bedridden, and other symptoms that I know Lyme can manifest itself with. And I was so scared, especially because it's not like I'm like running marathons or going for a jog or getting back to hiking or dancing or teaching. I'm still in like a very, very crucial part of my healing where I don't have energy still to do any of that. And I still feel very immunocompromised, and I'm always trying to work on my immune system and wearing masks and washing my hands and making sure I sleep and eat. I'm like hyper vigilant right now, which I know doesn't help the cause, but it also does because I need to take care of my body in this phase. And having a potential infection, insidious infection like Lyme, um, bring up bring up either it resparks the Lyme or it's new, like new um, co-infections, or resparks long COVID. Like, I don't know. And so my mind was just going a mile a minute yesterday. And on top of that, having to take a huge round of very strong antibiotics when I already am dealing with gut issues, and it was too much for me to hold. And I had multiple calls with multiple friends and like healers yesterday trying to help me see what this is asking of me. And that's not always comfortable to do. And I'm finding more and more that every time a challenge presents itself, I go, what is this trying to teach me and show me? And I think that I possibly got bit to, and maybe this is all BS and it just helps me kind of keep going instead of being a victim, because even though it's quote unquote easy to be a victim, why me, it's not a comfortable place to be either. And then you feel extremely powerless, and then your body ends up feeling powerless and your mind ends up feeling powerless. So I'm like, all right, what is this trying to show me? What is this tick bite bringing up for me? And it is bringing up so much fear. And I have lived my life, I think, with a lot of worry and fear, and I don't want to live that way anymore. And I know that that will come and go, but yeah, I'm it's brought up so many questions about myself and like the things that I subscribe to, in terms of like What belief systems do I subscribe to? Do I actually believe my body is strong enough to fight this? Do I actually believe that these prescription pills will, like these antibiotics, will hurt me? Or can I rewire my body and my mind to take this medicine and know that it will do good for me? And yeah, it is a practice, but it's something that I'm trying to take on because the latter, like I said, is just feeling powerless and yeah, just in this tailspin that I've been in. Um so yeah, that is the update on what is going on. These these antibiotics are intense, and I'm going to be resting for the next 10 days. I'm supposed to be going back to LA on Monday, so in 5 days. But now there's an Air Canada strike possibly looming, so we shall see. Um, Thank you for tuning into this episode. Just wanted to give you guys a little update on what's been going on and the inner workings of my mind these days. But yeah, thank you for tuning in, and I will update you very soon next week. Take care.